Farmers also had to work with low quality seed cane provided by the company. Farmers have no decision-making power in selling their produce. They are bound to sell their harvest to the company at a price decided by the company. There is very little space for farmers to bargain on selling prices of their produce. The company maintained isolated, individualized relationships with the farmers, ensuring they did not collectivize. Unlike paddy farmers, there were no strong sugarcane cultivation collectives who could negotiate for better prices with the company or with the state. It became clear that the cost of sugarcane cultivation was unbearably high, with farmers and their households being unable to bear these costs. This raises the elephant in the room question. If the company was having such high profits, why were the farmers making huge losses and getting into debt? Were the company's profits built on the exploitation and losses of local sugarcane farmers? Or, assuming the government audit reports are true, if the company was making a loss, does it follow that local sugarcane farmers were bearing the costs of the losses of the company? So one of the big impacts of this cost is on food. Many sugarcane farmers mentioned that with the rising cost of basic food in the context of the economic crisis, they were unable to meet the food needs of their households. With poverty levels at 31% in the eastern province, it's tragic that farmers and their households don't have basic food. Ironically, sugar has become unaffordable to the sugarcane cultivators. In terms of systemic discrimination, the survey findings strongly illustrated that there was a deep distrust of the state among the sugarcane farmers of Ampara. They have had long-term experiences of being let down again and again, even as big companies increase their profits. Farmers felt that local communities are not prioritized by the state in terms of their fundamental rights and their inalienable connections to the land. The inordinate delays in resolving land issues, dispossession, rights violations are the norm. Many farmers feel that this delay and state inaction by a predominantly Sinhala Buddhist state was due to ethnic and political discrimination against minority communities. The study put together a timeline which clearly illustrated the absolute chaos in relation to which government body, at which level in the line of command, had the right over the lands acquired for the purpose of sugarcane cultivation. This also meant that there was chaos in terms of who had the authority to resolve any of the complaints of ordinary farmers in relation to land acquisition and dispossession. However, the chaos is not devoid of political will. It has been deliberate and violent to deny people's right to land. The outgrown model of cultivation is untenable and keeps farmers in enormous precarity where they are entirely responsible for producing adequately without proper land and seed resources and without any assistance, all with the constant threat of losing their land. This model has led to farmers subsidizing the losses of the company as farmers spend on all additional costs and bear the risks and losses that were caused by the inefficiency of the company and the government. The history of land dispossession in Ampara is in the context of structural discrimination against minority communities. In the long history of incidents of violence, the latest was in 2023 while this research was being conducted. If the new Sri Lankan government is committed to reconciliation, a genuine process of resolving issues of land dispossession must be implemented immediately. This would be an essential but difficult process, as minority communities have lost faith by being deliberately let down repeatedly by state processors. And to end, in a situation where the country is facing a food and economic crisis, where the food security and livelihoods of local communities have been endangered, denying local farmers access to land, resources that can be used for food production, and forcing them to engage in unprofitable cultivation against their will is unjust to the farmers and irrational from the perspective of the larger good of all the people in the country. Thank you.